Hi, and welcome to the Bottom Line. I'm Pastor Paul Steele, and I'm the senior pastor at Bethlehem Church in Austin, Minnesota. Now, the Bottom Line is our weekly summary of the previous Sunday's sermon. And during this Advent season, as we prepare our hearts and our minds for Christmas and remembering the first appearing of Jesus, as we prepare for the second coming of Jesus, we are in the sermon series called The Gifts, and we're looking at the gifts that we receive from Jesus, the gifts of hope, the gifts of peace, the gift of joy, and the gift of love. And this past Sunday, we talked about the gift of joy. And joy is on this backdrop of heartbreak, of despair, of sin, of darkness. And sometimes when we think about those types of things, we wonder, well, where does our joy come from? How can we have joy when our experience in this life leads to heartbreak and leads to grief and leads to mourning and leads to disappointment? Where does our joy come from? And we've been walking through the Christmas story found in the book of Luke. And so Sunday we looked at Luke chapter 1 verses 39 through 56. Luke chapter 1 verses 39 through 56, which is Mary's, the account of Mary going to visit her cousin Elizabeth. Elizabeth is the wife of Zechariah, and Zechariah had this visit from Gabriel saying, hey, you guys, and even in your old age, are going to have a son, and you're going to name him John, and he's going to prepare the way for the Messiah. And then we have Gabriel showing up again in his visit to Mary and telling Mary, hey, you are going to bear a son, and he's going to be called the Son of God. And he tells Mary, hey, even your relative, Elizabeth, is with child. And so in this moment where there's this confusion, and Mary goes to the one person that has the slightest idea that what she's going through. And in Mary, I think we find three reasons why we can have joy. The first is we have joy through faith or belief. Elizabeth, when she sees Mary, says, hey, you have acted in your faith. You have believed. And so when we act in our faith, when we believe God, we experience him, even in all the brokenness and in the sin and the disappointment and the despair, we experience God and we find joy. The second reason is because we remember God's power, God's strength. And so Mary breaks out into this poem called the Magnificent or Magnificant. And in it, one of the things she says, hey, God is at work with his mighty right arm. See, she is recounting, she's remembering how God in the past has come and saved them. And is saying, this is what is happening now. God with his strength is coming. And so we find joy in the reality that God is powerful, he is strong, and he is going to make things right. And the third is that we believe that God keeps his covenant. And the last part of that poem, Mary says that, hey, God has remembered his covenant promises to our ancestors. See, God is a God who keeps his promises. So even though it's been 2,000 years since Jesus, we believe that God is going to keep his promise. Jesus will return and restore the things the way they should be, make everything right, bring justice into this world. And because of that, we can choose joy even in the midst of our suffering and our grief and in our sin. So the bottom line on Sunday was this: During Advent, we prepare our hearts with joy as we enjoy the new life Jesus gives to us. We prepare our hearts with joy as we live this new life that we receive from Jesus. And our challenge was this, to celebrate God. And I don't know what that looks like for you. Maybe it's turning on some Christmas music and dancing around and praising God. Maybe it's sitting down and writing a letter to God, thanking him for what he's done. Maybe it's getting a group of friends together for some time with one another, with prayer, as you talk about the wonderful things God has done in your life. So I want to remind you of a couple of things coming up. We have on this Saturday, December 18th, our live nativity from 6 to 8. So if you're in Austin, drive by Bethlehem Church and look at our live nativity. And then on Christmas Eve at 5:30, we're going to have our Christmas Eve service as we remember God and what he has done for us, his love that he has given to us through Jesus. So thank you for being part of Bethlehem. Continue to catch us on our live stream here on YouTube or on Facebook. And the best way, if you've appreciated what we're doing, the best way to support us is to give. So go to our website, BethlehemChurchAustin.com, and follow the Give tab, and you can continue to support what we're doing here in Austin. Thanks again. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and God bless.